Hey there, friends. Hope you're doing well and getting some paint on those minis. I just want to say thanks for all the comments, views, likes, subscribes. It's been greatly appreciated. I love that you're following me on this little journey. I'm having a blast editing these videos, still trying to figure out how to balance my audio properly. But, you know, I'm working on it. So yeah, just thanks for following along. Really appreciate it. Today, we're gonna paint Moon Knight from Marvel Crisis Protocol. So, I'm gonna do a bit of a lesson on how to paint white. I am no professional. I'll never call myself a professional, but I have been painting for some time, so I've learned some do's and don'ts, what pitfalls to avoid. If you know better than me, go on down below, yell at me in the comments. I appreciate it, because I will possibly learn something. That'd be awesome. So, without further ado, let's just jump right to the video. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Alright, so here's Moon Knight from Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's a pretty interesting mini. I like the pose with his one leg up and his cape kind of flowing out from behind him towards the front. So what we're going to start with is a matte black prime to just, obviously prime the model, but we're going to use it as part of our shadows as we paint through this model. Now I could use a white ink through an airbrush, but I really like this Vallejo gray primer. So I'm going to come in from the top with that and create a zenithal prime. I'm going to apply it fairly heavily, as this is going to be a white model. So this is actually going to end up being our mid-tone. So this is going to be the majority of the model. So this actually kind of makes it pretty easy. So be fairly heavy-handed with your zenithal, and you can see here you end up with a pretty good looking model. Moon Knight is very white, and this is already looking pretty good. Honestly, if we just put some black on that base rim, we're done. I guess, So here we go with the rim, and yeah, so thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate the views. Subscribe if you want. I'm just joking. We're gonna do some more here. So let's get some more white highlights on this model. We have a gray right now. It looks very white at the moment, but we can brighten that up a bit. So here we are with just some white from Scale Color. So I think the thing about painting white is that you really don't want to paint white. So the thing is, white isn't really a very natural color that you find in nature. So if you are too heavy-handed with your white, you actually end up making it look really blown out and kind of almost fake. So the trick here to painting white is to not paint white. I know, it sounds kind of weird, but you're going to use white, but it's going to be very sparingly. So actually the majority of the model ends up being this gray with the black shadows and then just lightly white. So I'm coming in here with this off-white. You can see it's not quite a white there. I compare it to the white from Vallejo. And I'm just using that on his midsections, on his body. So the cape I'm actually highlighting just with the white, and I'm using this off-white to highlight just his main body clothing and armor, just to have this kind of difference between the two kinds of whites on the model. I know it might be kind of hard to tell the difference between these on camera. It's actually quite subtle. In person, it's a little more obvious, but it's not supposed to really stand out too much. It's just to have this slight visual difference, just kind of break up the model a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, the key here is just be very sparing with your actual white. You want to save that for your brightest highlights so that you have these transitions and definition in the model. Because once you hit white, you can't go any higher, and your highest highlights need to be, the highest, which is white. So I'm coming with this deep blue now, just to add some interest to the model, because it's looking, you know, it looks like Moon Knight, but it's not all that interesting. So I'm taking this very, very dark blue and thinning it down, and I'm basically doing these pin highlights where I just kind of very lightly put it in the recesses over where the black primer remains. You might notice as I'm doing this that the blue is a lot brighter than it seems like it would be, because it was such a dark blue. And that's because it's thinned out, and going over such a light color, it pops it up a bit. So you need to be very careful when you're painting colors over top of white, because you're going to get a much brighter result than you might expect at first. So yeah, I went really, really dark with this and thinned down so that I can kind of blend it nicely. I'm going into the recesses here. You'll see I'll kind of clean that up because it's a bit heavy-handed right there in the cape. Yeah, so just going through, doing all the shadows. You can use the black that's left from the primer and just layer that blue right over top of it, and the black will bring it down to add additional shading. Now, just in regards to painting white itself and the lighter colors, you don't need an airbrush like I used to get that first base color. You just need to do these colors in very light layers and multiple layers. These lighter colors have larger pigments, so they can get really chalky and thick looking. So you just need to thin your paints, do multiple layers, and just do it slowly, and you'll be fine. Now, I've seen a lot of people leave the model pretty much like this with a white staff, but I just kind of wanted to add a little bit more. So I went with a gold for the staff. Why I chose gold is just because it's a nice, bright, kind of unique color. So, and now I just have to go in and pretty much finish up the base. So, standing on concrete. Most Marvel Crisis Protocol models are standing on concrete, so I just went in with that gray. I used some red for this brick he's standing on top of, which is kind of weird. It looks like he's standing on a chimney or something right on a sidewalk. I don't understand that. Kind of strange, but I don't know. So just using some Agrax Earthshade just to add some shading to the base. Just bringing out those shadows, and I'll come back over with the original colors. There it is again, the gray, and just dry brushing it. So I'm taking most of the paint off of my brush. Right here, you can see me rubbing it on the dry palette and just kind of scrubbing it over top so it leaves those dark recesses. So it kind of picks out those details a bit. So here I come in and do just a little more accurate highlights on the top of that chimney. And then I'm going to take that original red from the brick and mix it with a lighter color just to add some edge highlights on the individual bricks. Just some very light highlighting on those really makes them pop out, as you can see here. I feel like it adds a lot to the base. So I found these little posters online on the Facebook group for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and they come in these big sheets, and you just print them out, and you can cut out little posters and glue them to your base and look like little newspapers from the Daily Bugle and such. Adds a lot. So to put them on, I just took this white glue and put it in a little container like this, just everyday Elmer's white glue. And I mix a little water from a spray bottle that I keep near my desk. Having a spray bottle of water is super useful. So I just take a crappy brush and I mix the glue and the water together to make like a slurry. And I take one of these posters and I crunch it up to make it look kind of worn and used. And then I just drop it into that mix and swirl it around and let it soak up all that glue mix. And then you can just take them and put it on your base and kind of mold it to wherever you want it. And then as that glue dries, it hardens in place and they look really great. And the glue dries clear, so it looks nice. So I'm just taking that original gray from the concrete adding a lighter color to it, so I get a highlight for the base as well. So I use that on the top of the chimney, and I also use it around the cracks on the base a bit, just to kind of make it pop a little more. And I take some Agrex Earthshade wash, and I kind of put that over top of the posters, just to make them look a little more worn, like they've been sitting on the ground, and like kind of muck water and stuff is soaked into them. They look really used. And just a final little thing I did is take this really bright, like teal, blue, green, and just did his eyes up with that. So I just did a layer over his eyes and then added a bit of white to make them pop. And here he is, all done. So what do you all think? Did this turn out well? Was the commentary on how to paint white helpful at all? Was this just a big waste of your time? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Feedback is super appreciated, and if you like this video, like it. I would appreciate it big time, and subscribe if you want to see more. So again, just thanks for watching my video. I hope to see you again next time, and remember, paint today for a better tomorrow. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Nope. No. Just wanted to say, no. Yeah, say it right, Eric. Marvel Crisis Protocol, Marvel Crisis Protocol, Marvel Crisis Protocol.